Hey everybody, this is Blazing903. If you're new to the channel, please hit like and smash that subscribe button. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the 5 things I hate about my 2019 Corvette Grand Sport 2LT. If you've been following the channel and you saw my previous video, you'll know that I recently purchased this car. I purchased it about 3 weeks ago, and I currently have a tick under 1,100 miles. Now, I am brand new to the Corvette scene and to the Corvette family as a whole. With that said, I do not know every spec about the vehicle, but I do know what I hate about the car, or what I believe should be widely discussed to the brand new Corvette owners or to those die-hard Corvette enthusiasts. They can hear a newbie's perspective. Maybe it's common knowledge for the die-hard Corvette enthusiasts, but for those persons entering the Corvette family, this video might be a honest layman's perspective on the Corvette Grand Sport 2019 experience. With that said, let's get started. The 5th thing I hate about this vehicle is the brake dust. Now, I've read about this in the forums, and I've seen some YouTube videos discussing concerns and the amount of maintenance involved with the brake dust. I even have a friend that has a Porsche Boxer, and he's constantly complaining about the brake dust as well. So it's a common thing for sports cars. I had a Nissan 370Z in the past, didn't have that much brake dust. However, this one does. And maybe it's because I have chrome rims on it, and you can see the brake dust a little bit more as opposed to the black rims. However, I'm currently cleaning the car, cleaning the rims in particular, every 2 to 3 days. Now, I grant the fact that maybe I'm doing that because it's brand new to me. And in a matter of weeks and possibly months, I'm going to scale it back to just weekend cleaning and maintenance. I'm also going to get the vehicle ceramic coated, including the rims, and that'll help with the brake dust. But I just wanted to show you this rim I cleaned yesterday. So it's good because I only drove it about a mile to get here. This back rim I purposely left dirty. Now, you may not be able to see it on the video, but let me take this microfiber towel and wipe it. This is from 3 days of driving the vehicle. Again, take another part of the microfiber towel, another part of the rim. That's a lot. So, again, I grant the fact that it's possibly because it's chrome, and you will see it more. But that is 2 or 3 days worth of brake dust. Seems like a lot to me. The 4th thing I hate about this car is some of the build quality and materials used on the interior. Some examples of this is this knob wiggles, so does this one, that one, but the volume knob in particular wiggles quite a bit, and I don't know if you can see that. At this price point, I would expect more. This car MSRP is for $77,000, and it competes directly with the Porsche 911, also competes with the Jaguar XR. Those 2 vehicles do have better build quality. So GM can step it up a notch or 2 to better compete against those vehicles. In addition to that, the plastics used, plastic. Now, I do understand I could have optioned for the carbon fiber flash, which gives it a nicer look, a richer look, but in my opinion, that should be standard. If you have to increase the price, and don't shoot me for even suggesting to increase the price, but if you have to increase the price by $500 to $1,000 to make those quality materials standard, I do not believe that the purchaser of this vehicle is going to go in another direction. This is still much cheaper than the Porsche and the Jaguar by thousands. So a little bit more to better compete from a quality materials perspective will not deter a buyer at this price point. The 3rd thing I hate about this car is, and it could be a positive or a negative depending on how you look at it, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on a negative. So the 3rd thing I hate about this car is the attention that it gets. I am in Longview, Texas, and there are not that many Grand Sports on the road. However, with that said, there's positive and negative. So the negative would be at every red light or every stop sign, when a fast car like a Camaro or a Mustang pulls up next to me, they rev and they want to race. Now, I did not buy this car to drag race against Camaros and Mustangs, although at times I have been known to get on it and smoke whoever's next to me. So statistically, what I've read is this car is going to smoke 90 to 95% of the vehicles on the road. But at every single red light, someone pulling up next to you and wanting to race, that's funny to me, but it kind of is getting old already. So that is the third thing I hate about this car. Some of the negative attention that I get from other fast cars who are constantly wanting to race. The number two thing I hate about this car is the amount of debris these tires kick up and the sound that it makes. Now, the first time I experienced this, I was freaking out, because although I had read about this in some of the forums, it isn't until you experience it that you realize the magnitude of certain things. The same thing applies to my number 5 thing I hate about this car, which is the brake dust. So because these tires are soft compound, and these are the softest compound tires I've ever had, and I've had quite a few cars, including a Nissan 370Z, but these tires literally pick up everything on the road. They kick it into the wheel well of the vehicle, and it just sounds horrible. It sounds like your car is gonna break, honestly. It sounds like you're gonna get out and you're gonna find half your paint gone or full of rock chips at the very least. That isn't necessarily the case. You know, there is a way to, go around it, and, you just drive slower, and, you just ensure that you're just taking it easy over the gravel roads. But that is for sure the second thing I hate about this vehicle. Now, to the number one thing I hate about my 2019 Grand Sport 2LT. And that is something that is not widely discussed and maybe known to the true Corvette enthusiasts. However, you have to keep in mind that C7 introduced this vehicle to thousands, tens of thousands of new persons buying this vehicle, tens of thousands of new persons being introduced to the Corvette family, and those of us that are new, who haven't followed this vehicle for decades, may not be aware of this. So the number one thing I hate about this vehicle is the skipping or the hopping that it does in low speed maneuvering. So when I purchased this vehicle, it had 0 miles on it, and when I test drove it, it skipped and it hopped, and I did question it. Now, the salesperson told me that it's because the tires are cold and the tires are wide, and that it will go away once we start driving it. So I drove it for maybe 2 miles, and it did go away to a certain extent, but I didn't realize that it didn't truly go away. Now, when I took it home, I drove it. It was probably 120 miles to get back home. So I drove it 120 miles, and then it still did it. So I started researching it, and I was able to find a thread or two on the forums discussing how the hopping or the skipping, whatever we're going to call it, I'm going to call it some skipping, that the skipping is a common thing for Corvettes, but I had to do some real research to find those threads, and I was surprised that it isn't commonly discussed. Now, again, for those of us that are brand new to Corvettes, this kind of should be upfront information, because it's made me feel like the car was damaged. I was ready to take it back to the dealership and say, hey, you gave me a lemon, you gave me something that's terribly wrong here, and it isn't. So it doesn't matter if you drive 120 miles home or on a trip. Once you do a low speed turn, either hardcore left, hardcore right, the car is going to skip, and it's going to feel like there's something wrong with the shocks or there's something wrong with the vehicle as a whole. There isn't. It is simply the way it is. Now I've also read that once I change the tires from OEM and maybe go all season tires, that the skipping will subside. You know, I don't know to what extent, but I'm definitely going to go with all season tires, and I'm hoping that the skipping does subside, because it's a weird feeling. I can't even, you know, explain it, aside from thinking that the vehicle was somehow damaged, you know. But that is by far the number one thing I hate about this vehicle, which is the skipping and low speed maneuverings. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you found it helpful. If you're in the market for a phenomenal sports car, this is truly it. You know, but I hope that the 5 things I discussed, my 5 experiences, will help you make a more educated purchase. You know, in the long run, all those things could be offset. None of those things were a deal breaker for me. I thoroughly enjoy, you know, using this as a daily driver. So if you're going to go for a sports car and this is your price point, this vehicle right here, hard to beat. Let's get at it. A tick under 1,100 miles. I currently am. Some future content I'm going to be making is the 5 things I love about the car. I'm going to take this car on. Thank you for watching the video, and thank you for checking. Hi everybody, I'd like to remind everybody that consider subscribing, and I hope you hit some things is going to be from a layman's perspective. Hi everybody, I'd like to take a moment to remind everybody that I'm new to the Corvette family, so my perspective on things is going to be from a common man. What's a common man?